So first of all, where are you from?
I'm from Pakistan.
Pakistan. Okay. How long have you been living in Indonesia?
I've been here for the last 16 years.
Oh, that's
I
long.
came in 2002.
See. What are the reasons you moved to Indonesia?
Long story. To cut it short, I've got my family living here. Actually, to let you know, my grandmother was born in Medan. So we have a big family here. So as soon as I qualified, I was looking for a job in Pakistan. I was doing teaching jobs here and there, but then my uncle invited me to come here to join in his business. So that's why I came here in 2002, worked with him for 1 year, and then there was this teaching opportunity at Monash, and eventually I started working here.
Cool. What surprises did you encounter when you first came here?
Culture. Culture was very different. Pakistani culture, Indonesian culture, very different. Muslim countries, but still the way they operate things here and there, it's very different. So it was new for me. Few things were a bit of a shock for me, but it was all a learning experience.
What did you find it difficult to get used to?
Food, definitely. Food was difficult to get used to because Indonesians eat rice 3 times a day, 7 times a week, 30 days a month, 365 days a year. We don't do that. We at least have bread for breakfast. We would eat chapati. I don't know if you know that. It's a round bread. That is what we eat actually. Rice maybe once or twice a week.
What did you find easy to get used to?
Easy to get used to was actually, it was difficult as for going back again to your previous question, not just the food, it was also the language. But language was relatively easier to encounter. Something easier to get used to here was actually the warmth and the acceptance of the Indonesians. They accept you right away. So it's not that you are in a country where people would pass comments to you and all that. So it was nice.
Did you experience any culture shock? How did you overcome this?
Give me an example of a cultural shock.
For example, like when you first came to Indonesia, you shocked with the culture that like there's a traffic everywhere and
Correct. Yeah, traffic was, of course, is very bad compared to what we have in Pakistan. Because it's a big country, especially Jakarta is a big metropolitan city as well, so that is the reason why there is a bad traffic. Apart from that, yeah, I think it's at times it's the way the people treat others. At that point in time, also more on the stories that I've heard, especially the 1997-98. So that was a bit of a shock, the way how these people reacted to those kind of situations. So that was a bit of a shock for me, but in general, I think it was okay.
Have you adjusted to Indonesian culture?
Yes, you have to.
Yeah.
You in Rome do what the Romans do. So exactly that is what I did. So I have to be accepted, and this is a perfect example. Wearing a batik on a Friday, it's a must. Because in Pakistan we wear not like batik, but it's a more longer dress. So yes, this needs to be. You have to adjust because it is not just about adjusting. It is more of like respecting and accepting. So for me, that is more important.
How long did it take for you to adjust in a new culture?
It was quick. As soon as you know the Indonesian language, it is easier for you to then communicate with people. You can say what you want to, and eventually people will understand. People would accept you. So once that is out of the way, everything was okay.
If you have a friend who is moving to Indonesia, what are some advices would you give to them?
Bahasa. They have to learn language. They need to know the do's and the don'ts in Indonesia. Then the other is the job market is not as good as maybe it is back there in Pakistan. So if they are moving here for job, unless and until they are directly hired from Pakistan, that is different. Somebody coming here to find a job, The market is very saturated.
Okay. That's it for the interview.
Thank you very
Thank
much.
you, sir.
Lovely meeting. Have a
Thank
good
you.
day.
Hi, Timothy. So today I'll be asking a few questions regarding culture. I hope you don't mind.
I definitely don't mind.
Okay, so I heard that you live in UK now. How long have you been living in UK?
Yeah, actually, I've been living in the UK for around 1.5 years now.
Ah, I see. Tell us the reason why you decided to move to UK.
Well, ever since I was a child, actually, it has been a lifelong dream of mine to study in the UK. UK's rich history and its position as the central of its education really allures me to study there and experience some of it on my own.
Can you mention a few cultural differences you have noticed so far, like food, for example, or the customs, language?
London is actually a metropolitan city such as Jakarta, so differences are generally hard to come by. That said, differences are very noticeable. The amount of Chinese and Indian food is really unprecedented back in London. Also, the people there are very, very nice and nicer than I thought they would be. So it really surprised me how British people can get along really so well.
What did you find easy to get used to?
Definitely making acquaintances. As I said before, London people are very, very nice. They are generally polite. Not all of them, but most of them are. So it's really easy to get to know them and then make friends with them.
How about the difficulties?
Definitely the fact that London is one of the most expensive cities in the world. It takes a long time and patience to get used to the fact that you can spend up to 70, 80 quid in one day to just hang out with friends.
Did you experience any culture shock?
Surprisingly, yes. Never in my life before have I been exposed to so many cultures at one time, and it sometimes can be really, really overwhelming. Being the only Indonesian at my school don't really help at all. Weirdly enough, I found my pleasure in cooking. One of my friends taught me how to cook char siu once, and it really took off from there. I started to learn how to cook traditional food, and that's really one of the ways for me to get to feel my hometown.
What about the language differences?
I've actually been studying English for a long time now, so it really helped me a lot, and getting used to the environment there in London.
Have you adjusted to the new culture?
Living there for a year and a half now really forced me into adjusting because I know that that's my life now, that's my home, and I really have to make the best of my time there.
How?
One of the things that I used to do when early in my days was to just get out and explore the city. If you ask me, my personal experience would say that the best way to adjust to the city is to get to know them. It's the little things, the bus routes, the good restaurants, and all the good times for you to go out. It really helped me to feel and to make London as my home and to make the best of my time there.
So I assume you don't find any difficulties in adjusting to the new culture.
Not very much. Yes.
How long did it take for you to adjust in a new country?
Probably took me around 2 months or so to really get into the feel of making London my home.
Last question. Let's say you have a friend who is moving to UK. What are some advices would you give to him or her?
The most important thing that I would give to him or her is to study and to really understand the English language. And it's very important for you to have the tool to speak and converse with the people around you, and that will really help you in adjusting to a new country or new city.
Okay, that's it for today. Thank you, Tim, for your time. Have a great day.
Thank you.